Good evening, this is your AI host, Jay. I'm here with the automatically generated, Journato, evening headlines on May 19, 2023. Georgian anger as Russian flights land again in Tbilisi. BBC, Georgians dismayed at renewed direct flights from Russia. Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, Russia-Georgia flights resume despite protests, strained ties. The Independent, protests greet first Russian plane to land in Georgia in years. France 24 English, first Russian flight lands in Tbilisi after Kremlin lifts ban. KNVB launch fresh investigation into Vitesse Arnhem links to Roman Abramovich. Austrian town that inspired Arundel from frozen erects fence to stop selfies. The Independent, let it go. Austrian town that looks just like Frozen builds fence to stop selfie-taking tourists. Euronews, Austrian village tries to fence off Frozen selfie spot. The Times, Hallstatt, town in Austria puts up fence to stop selfies. Spain hopes domestic tasks app will ensure men pull their weight. The Guardian, Gravitas, Spain develops app to help married couples with chores. WION, Spain launches app so wives can audit husbands' housework and share chores equally. The Telegraph, are men doing enough chores? In Spain, there's an app for that. Euronews, Spain to launch app for wives to track if husbands are doing household chores. The secret network of tunnels under paranoid Putin's bunker. The Independent, maps of Vladimir Putin's secret underground lair leaked. The Telegraph, inside Putin's $1 billion Black Sea survival bunker. The Times, leaked maps show secret bunker beneath $1.3 billion palace allegedly owned by Vladimir Putin. NDTV, revealed, Vladimir Putin's secret Black Sea bunker. Villages evacuated as very large wildfire ravages southwest Spain. The Guardian, hundreds of people evacuated as wildfire rages in western Spain. Al Jazeera English, villages evacuated as wildfire ravages woodlands in western Spain. Reuters, huge fire breaks out at Spanish tourist resort of Benidorm, popular with British tourists. The Star, video, huge fire breaks out at popular British tourist resort Benidorm in Spain. Officials said 4 children survived Colombian plane crash. Then they vanished. The Independent, confusion over fate of 4 children missing in Colombian plane crash. Evening Standard, President retracts claim of children found alive in the jungle after plane crash. The Telegraph, Colombia plane crash, report took how children survive 16 days for jungle after plane crash. BBC, Colombia president retracts claim children found after plane crash. Britain says Russia will pay the price for invasion as fresh sanctions unveiled. The Independent, we're not going away, PM delivers straightforward message for Putin at G7 summit. Sky News, we're not going away, Rishi Sunak arrives at G7 announcing Russia sanctions. The Guardian, new wave of sanctions will ensure paying for Vladimir Putin, vows Rishi Sunak. Evening Standard, Russian state broadcaster suggests Putin should acquit the IRA in response to UK aid to Ukraine. G7 leaders confront spectre of nuclear conflict on visit to Hiroshima memorial. The Guardian, Joe Biden won't apologize for Hiroshima bombing on G7 visit. The Times, Joe Biden stumbles while walking downstairs at G7 summit in Japan. The Independent, G7 summit, are Biden and Kishida climate walkers or just talkers? Al Jazeera English, G7 summit live news, Ukraine casts shadow over Hiroshima meeting. Montana TikTok users denounce ban. We have terrible roads but they're banning an app. The Guardian, TikTok users file lawsuit against Montana over first-in-nation law banning app. The Independent, TikTok users file lawsuit to block Montana ban citing freedom of speech. The Telegraph, Montana's TikTok ban is unconstitutional twice over. Bloomberg, Montana's TikTok ban, why has it happened and will it work? Doctor, 88, reunited with family after being held captive by Qaeda-linked militants for 7 years. Sky News, Ken Elliott, Australian hostage, 88, freed by Qaeda militants. BBC, Australian doctor freed 7 years after abduction in West Africa. Al Jazeera English, 88-year-old Australian doctor free 7 years after kidnapping in West Africa. UN denied access to Rohingya refugee camps after Cyclone Mocha. The Guardian, Cyclone Mocha death toll rises sharply in Myanmar. BBC, UK announces humanitarian support for 175,000 affected by Cyclone Mocha in Myanmar. Gov. UK, Bangladesh shelters as Cyclone Mocha hits land, in pictures. The Guardian, official death toll in Myanmar cyclone rises to at least 54. Assad attends first Arab League summit since start of Syria war. BBC, Syria's Assad arrives in Saudi Arabia in first visit since war. France 24 English. France 24 English, Assad gets warm welcome as Syria welcomed back into Arab League. Al Jazeera English, the misguided re-engagement with Syria's Bashar al-Assad. Financial Times, it's a sad lesson. No matter how blood-soaked you are, you can find a road to diplomatic redemption. Assad's comeback. US to back fighter jet training for Ukrainian pilots, official says. The Guardian, Ukraine war, Germany says no to jets, Ukraine bombed, Baltics belong to Russia claim. Euronews, Scholz, fighter jets for Ukraine not German responsibility. EURACTIV, US risks rift with European allies over hesitancy to supply F-16s to Ukraine. The Guardian, US at odds with Europe over sending Ukraine F-16 fighter jets. Inside Bakhmut's blackened nightmare, Ukrainians are terrified, but Russia's domination could be a pyrrhic victory. Sky News, Russian forces in retreat near Bakhmut mousetrap. EURACTIV, Ukraine war live, Russia unlikely to take Bakhmut soon. The Telegraph, Ukraine commander which explains why army must fight on in Bakhmut. Business Insider, Ukrainian forces attack Russians near Bakhmut. G7 summit, Zelensky accuses some Arab leaders of blind eye to war ahead of Japan trip. BBC, Zelensky to travel to Japan for G7 summit. MSNBC, G7 summit, Zelensky will fly to Hiroshima to meet leaders. The Times, G7 summit and water buffaloes, Friday's best photos. The Guardian, Ukraine updates, Zelensky to attend G7 summit in Japan. This was all for the news. Thanks for listening. Please do not forget to like and subscribe.